Contribution by Jay. If you end up leading this life, your choices concerning the people around you are very important. I started working for Carlton at a young age via his then right-hand man, Crusher. I'd been knocking about in the local gyms and nightclubs for so long that he thought I was much older than I actually was. My apprenticeship, as it were, started out on a casual basis. I'd get a last-minute call from Crusher when he needed an extra body on a job. In the beginning, we spent maybe 1 or 2 days per week collecting debts all over the country. I would hear the info and instructions from Crusher, and in turn, he would handle everything else directly with Carlton, who we only referred to as Mr. C. As time passed and trust grew, I started to be brought in on other work. For example, C had a client from whom we used to pick up a holdall of cash and deliver it to a little office on an industrial estate in Basildon. One time, I learnt that the bag that day had 400k in it, and I remember thinking, fuck me, they must trust me. Whereas C and Crusher had previously kept their meetups between the two of them, they'd started to have me along too. Having grown up in Essex, in a family who were mostly West Ham fans from East London, I knew who Carlton Leach was, even before the rise of the Foot Soldier movie. I was in my 20s and being sent on jobs by a man who was effectively a living legend, a man who moved in the shadows and people locally traded rumours about. I loved the work and had cash in my pocket. What more could I want? I didn't give a fuck about anyone knowing who I was. I just wanted to get the job done, get paid, and have a good crack with these guys while I could. Work didn't seem to stop coming in, and we were up to all sorts of stuff. On a few occasions, Carlton would lead a meeting because a name had been dropped, or another face was involved. There was never a dull moment. I remember Carlton saying to me once, "You're a paranoid cunt, ain't you? Keep it up." I just laughed. I didn't really know exactly what he meant by it at that moment, or how to respond. One night, I was told there was a meeting, and me and Crusher were going along with C to a restaurant called Marrakesh in Surrey. On the way up in Crusher's car, we pulled into a lay-by behind Carlton's Mercedes, got a thumbs up and followed him from there to the place. I'd been told it was an important meeting, but to be honest, I was expecting maybe 6-8 people. I was way off. I won't say who, but our section was full of chaps in suits, almost everyone I recognised as either a film actor or a villain from the southeast. Partway through the evening, C came and sat to have a chat with me and Crusher. It was the first proper lengthy conversation I'd had with C, and I think we were both taking stock of one another from a new angle. The details of any conversations I was privy to that evening will be taken to my grave with me. Carlton introducing me to his associates along with Crusher as one of his men was a notable point in time, and I kind of felt honoured to be there and grateful for the level of trust that was being given to me. I was delving deeper down the rabbit hole, and people I knew away from C's circles started to warn me about who and what I was involved with. When you're in your 20s, you don't heed many warnings, and I really didn't give 2 fucks what people had to say. In fact, if anyone told me I couldn't trust those sorts of people, it got my back up. I was going my way regardless, so I never stopped to think that I was actually at a junction in life. There was no time for a take the red pill or the blue pill kind of moment. I was going along for the ride and enjoying being part of this thing, whatever it was, or however you choose to label it. If you end up leading this life, your choices concerning the people around you are very important. If you fall in with the wrong people or allow yourself to be taken advantage of, you can easily end up in deep shit. Point being that, in this regard, I was extremely fortunate to have had the opportunity to work for Carlton. He only kept decent people in his inner circles, so I learnt a lot, especially in my first 10 years. Collectively, I believe we're always learning, and I'm pleased to be in a position where I can turn to Carlton for help or advice if I need it. In fact, the level of streetwise that he has is comparable to any academic degree from any university, except Carlton's skills can't just be taught, they have to be gained through experience as well. Although C was obviously well connected and had plenty of mates, it was interesting for me to observe just how many new people suddenly appeared around him after ROTF came out. The movie made no odds to me. I didn't want anything from C other than the chance to just keep working, something which I believe he realised over time and appreciated. I continued grafting and took note through the years of all these people coming along and then slowly dropping away again. The same surge of new friends came along around the time of ROTF 2 being made, but again I witnessed the inevitable exodus over about 6 to 12 months after that. People looking to try to gain from being in C's circles was not a new concept. It happened on the regular. It's just that the films exacerbated the numbers over a short period of time. But Carlton is far from stupid when it comes to spotting these users, and their successes are very limited because he's seen their moves 1,000 times before. I guess being a good judge of character and trusting cautiously are necessary traits for criminals, and if we look at Carlton's track record, it will demonstrate that he's done well in this regard. Of course, some business deals will inevitably go wrong, but C has lived the life to the max into his late 50s without being banged up for a long stretch or getting killed. One or two minor regrets aside, he's very happy in life. Perhaps if he wasn't so generous and didn't have the morals that he holds so dearly, he might be a millionaire by now. But some things are worth more than money to C, and that's one of the things that people lucky enough to call him a friend love about Carlton. I've got some great memories of funny and interesting times with Carlton, from going on jobs, training in the gym, days out, nights out, plane trips, road trips, meetings and meals. Probably some of the best times were in Ibiza for opening in 2017. What a mad fucking week that was. Carlton still partied like I've heard he did when he was 30. Times like that are absolutely priceless. One year, Carlton organised a night out for my birthday. He tapped up a client of his for a table at one of their restaurants, and about 15 or so of us went. By the end of the evening, we were the only ones left in there, but I'm not sure any of our lot noticed as everyone was so pissed. We only needed to pay for our meals as C had organised all the drinks to be laid on. Apparently, one person in our group tried to duck their share of the bill, but Carlton, as slaughtered as he was a step ahead and he rounded up all the cash from everyone, plus a tip for the good people who had served us all night. That's C for you, no matter how relaxed he is or how much booze he's consumed. His mind is so conditioned to watch out for sharks that he's still a step ahead. Fast forward to 2021, and I feel privileged to have Carlton in my life. It's not all about graft, and it hasn't been for years now. I consider C to be family, a term thrown around all too much these days, as is brother, but I don't use the term lightly or meaninglessly. We've been through ups and downs on both business and personal levels, but we've always managed to laugh, look to the future, and move forward. I have mates and I've made many acquaintances over the years, but I can count my true dependable friends on one hand. Carlton is the definition of a friend, but to me he is family. Even my son lovingly calls him Uncle Carlton and always gets excited when we're going to visit him. C's been in my boy's life since he was born. In fact, Carlton's baby advice was brilliant, probably as he's had so many of his own. And at a time when so many people have an opinion, he was one of about 2 or 3 people that me and my missus ever actually listened to. If I ever need sound advice, guidance or help, I know I can depend on Carlton for it, and likewise, if he wants an honest opinion on something, he knows I'll tell him exactly what I think or feel. Good job I didn't listen to those warnings earlier on, else I wouldn't have the friend I have today in Carlton. I hope that this book achieves the closure of certain topics that C hopes for and leaves the legacy for his family that he wishes it to.